This is the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. It is one of the most scenic canals in the British waterway system. It passes through beautiful areas of Yorkshire and Lancashire. They are enjoyed by thousands of people each year, many of them travelling the canal in a self-owned or hired leisure boat. They can be forgiven for thinking that the canal was always the rural idyll that it now appears to be. Leisure boating on the Leeds and Liverpool Canal stretches back over only the last 50 years of the canal's 200 years existence, and in fact, we are lucky to be able to still enjoy it as such. If it hadn't been for the foresight of Barbara Castle, then Minister of Transport in the 1960s, 1,400 miles of non-commercially viable waterways in Britain would have been closed, but she saw their potential as leisureways. But that's another story. This is the story of the Leeds and Liverpool Canal as it was in its commercial heyday. And it is the story of one boat in particular, Kennet. Formerly part of British Waterways' commercial fleet, but now run by the Leeds and Liverpool Canal Society as a floating heritage centre, travelling the length of the Leeds and Liverpool Canal to bring its cargo of heritage to the people that live on or along the canal corridor.
Hello, my name's Mike Clark and I'm the president of the Leeds and Liverpool Canal Society. I've been involved with canals now for 50 years, and when I first became involved it was down in the Midlands where there were all the narrowboats. But coming from up here in the north, I was concerned that our history and heritage of our northern canals was being forgotten. In the 1970s I bought a boat, a little bit like Kennet here. I lived on board for 5 years in the boatman's cabin. That allowed me to meet a lot of people to do with the canal and to get to know the canal. And so subsequently I wrote the history of the canal, which was published in 1990, and that made a lot more interest developing in the whole canal, its history, its heritage.
I'm Chris Shave, and I've been involved with the Canal Society since 2008. I mainly get involved with moving the boat, which is my love of life, moving boats and being on boats. My parents, fortunately for me, were very keen on the canals and had a strong interest in canals, and we went on a canal boat from about the age of 5 upwards every year at Easter. We saw a business for sale up on the Leeds Liverpool Canal, and after 4 years of traipsing up and down, we finally bought it. And we developed that into a thriving business, hiring out narrowboats for hire, moorings and a covered dry dock. And then we retired from that after 28 years of running that. All the British Waterways heritage boats were put up for sale or lease. And we saw that, and the Society saw it as an opportunity to take Kennet on. So we leased it for a while, and then we brought it them right for the sum of £1. But if you put it on the open market, somebody would snap it up to convert it into a houseboat, and they'd pay anything up to 40-50 grand for it. But we have said that it won't be sold ever, that if it has to go into a museum at the end, then that's what will happen.
This is Kennet. Kennet is a Leeds and Liverpool short boat. It was built in 1947 by Yardleys of Northwich, and it was in operation from 1947 till the late 1960s.
Kennet is one of the short boats that plied their trade on the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. They're called short boats as opposed to long boats, which could only travel from Liverpool to Wigan due to the change of lock size. They carried between 40 and 50 tons. The boats were originally horse-drawn, sometimes with a square stern which gave a little more carrying capacity. Steam power was introduced in 1879 with the engines built by William Wilkinson of Wigan and diesel engines in the 1920s, following an early unsuccessful trial around 1905. Until the 1950s, almost all the diesel engines were built by Widdopes of Keighley. When the canal first opened, limestone was expected to be the main traffic, but coal soon took over. However, the tolls were less than for the general cargoes which Kennet carried, and the canal made as much money from them as from coal. At its peak, The canal carried 2.25 million tonnes of cargo annually.
Well, I've always been interested in canal, and I just like wandering up and down the canal towpath and seeing things, and sort of questioning what's this and what's that, because it's been here like over 200 years, and you think, well, what is it? So I've done a lot of that questioning that, so I'm really interested in the heritage. And then when I joined the society and we got this boat, well, I mean, that were it. I could actually go along the canal on a proper boat and go and have a look at all these different places.